Good morning, Heidi. This is David Barlag, and I am out here in the field at the corner currently of Ln and Rurode, which is the intersection street here that leads back to the house that I'm here to look at you for today. So I thought I would start out here to show you that you get to the property by coming down a single lane street. All these houses back here would have been built in a similar period, late 60s, I would think. And so, just to give you a little idea, this house is also adjacent to the golf course. As I understand, one of these fellows that lives out here is the owner of the country club as well. I'm not sure what address that is though. But anyway, I thought maybe for purposes of easily digesting all this, I would separate the videos into exterior, interior, and then the crawl space, because there are some bonus spaces in this house that are great. To include the crawl space, not normally excited about getting in one, but this one's super accessible, and we're gonna check it out. Okay, so here we are. Oh, your neighbor has a pig. So you don't see that every day. That's kind of fun. There are some fields adjacent to the property this way. So no neighbors out here. This is going to be an easement where these power lines run through here. And then that is your shed. The seller's disclosure does not disclose the known age of the roof. The listing agent informed me that the client's best guess was like 12 or 13 years ago, and that tracks with some other information that we're going to see when we move along here. So I'm going to guess that these shingles, which are rather unique, although multi-dimensional, and I'm sure that they were expensive, these are probably the bougiest shingles I've seen as far as design goes. They've got this kind of funky Bauhaus thing going on. So yeah, you can see that this building, as well as the second floor of this house over here, has this cedar plank siding, and over time, if not properly treated and maintained, you get wood rot and some issues. So that is easily fixed and maintained. This board's probably worth replacing. If the wood is what they call kind of punky or easily deteriorated, or you can sort of poke at it and it starts to be brittle and fall apart because of exposure to water over time, then they just replace boards. So part of the joys of ownership of wooden exterior property. So not a big deal. I think we're going to see that there's some maintenance that could be done in these departments, and maintenance that has been consistently done over time. You can see that they've done some repair to the side of this here. So I would think that none of this really needs to be like replaced, or it's not imposing any kind of threat to the health and safety of the occupant of the home. It's the shed, for crying out loud. But I'm just trying to be meticulous in the details so that you know what you're gonna see when you show up. So let's see, moving along to the exterior of the house, kind of talking along similar lines. You've got this two-tone brick combination for the first floor, which is fun, and these bricks were created naturally this color. There's no like paint or anything working there. And then again on the second floor, you're going to see more of these cedar planks that is used as exterior siding. And again, you're going to see some areas where over time somebody's made repairs. I presume that is caulk that was then painted over. I don't think there's necessarily any right or wrong way to go about remedying this stuff. That is how I would address similar issues. And these are common places where water's going to drip down the side of the house, right? So That's why you just want to keep things painted and sealed. And obviously they've done an attempt at that. Cosmetically, it could have come out a little nicer. There's some touch-up areas that I think that I would address if I were to buy the place. Once we get to the front door, you can kind of see where you're like, okay, well, it's going to be worth bringing somebody out. I'd have my guy Randy Moss come out here and look at this. He is a stickler for making sure that his paint jobs look meticulously done and perfect for the better part of a decade. And that includes doing all kinds of prep work so that things turn out the way that they ought to. Okay, the majority of the cedar plank siding is really in good shape. I think it's fun that they left the rafter tails exposed there, and the eaves and the soffits all look nice. This is what I'm talking about. You can see. So that's cool. Gutters look nice and plumb and sturdy. These are heavier gauge gutters than you might just see by default on a house. So that's nice. Okay, this is going to be your sort of utility side entrance. Give you a quick sneak peek. We'll come back to all this once we get inside. And while I'm looking at this door, older security door, some of this is kind of seen an awful lot of sun and heat and thermal expansion, which is, I'm sure, what's created those defects there. So you got a nice little steel security door there just in case. And there's your box. Ample cooling supply here. As I was told by the listing agent, they have dual heating cooling systems to make sure that all 3,400 square foot of this place stays evenly cooled and heated with its interesting layout. So I was able to pull the serial numbers off those guys and cross-reference to see that they were both manufactured in 2012, which means that this was probably installed in 2012, 2013, which tracks with the roof repair, which I would guess tracks with the last paint job to the house, which would include these types of preparatory and, you know, like maintenance issues and like treating some of this punky wood before they painted it. So yeah, cool. Kind of move along the exterior of the house over here. Again, there's areas that appear to be slightly discolored. That's just the camera picking up the nuances and the slight difference in paint. This would have been touched up and repaired at some point. And just above the window there too. These aren't like glaringly obvious. Actually, the camera kind of picks them up more than you might see with your naked eye. There's a bird's nest, and I'm going to make sure that we negotiate that in. We'll keep him as a tenant. Keeps an eye on the place. Apparently nobody's lived here for a little while, which explains some of the foregone maintenance. But it's clear that over time, the people that not just built this house, but then the second owners, who are the ones selling it to us, have maintained the heck out of this thing. So this exterior deck is really nice. This is all synthetic material, and I presume that that sounds like really high density, like maybe vinyl, plastic, I don't know, but it is sturdy. It doesn't feel cheap. It's solid. It's in place where it ought to be, and it is weathering well. This surface out here is gorgeous and plumb, and these are not wooden boards, so there is no wood rot in sight anywhere around here, which is good because replacing decks is expensive. So here's a beautiful view of the golf course here. And then of the exterior of the house. And again, these doors are showing signs of discoloration and sun wear to the pigment and the paint job on them. All this could be tidied up. Okay, and it looks like you've got some four-legged visitors out here, probably raccoons, kitty cats, or something hanging out on your porch. But again, at the corners of the house, it's slightly more evident. Some of the degradation of the wood siding. This is a good example here where like it might be time to replace this particular board just because of the cosmetic element. Okay, these windows look like they've been well maintained over time, which I really appreciate, because these double paned windows, when they go bad, the seal in between the two panes fails, and whatever vacuum or argon or whatever was in there before gets replaced with, you know, outside air, which has moisture in it, and then you'll see hazing and evidence of that that's on the inside of the glass that you can't get off. And I don't see that on any of these windows. I do see a little bit of it on an interior door, but that's just great because obviously everything can be replaced and most things can be remedied and fixed. So these panes could be taken out of here to a local shop where they were then resealed, but obviously it's time and money. And so you would like to think that if you buy this place, you won't have to do that, and all of these look really good. So I'm excited about that for you. And now in being thorough here, I'm gonna finally walk around the front. Give a little idea of what underneath the deck here looks like. And again, I love seeing things like this where we've got these weeper runs off of the downspouts to make sure that we're keeping water away from the house, which is great. Obviously, water and this wooden siding don't play nicely. You're bound to see some deterioration right down here at the ground level. Although having all this rock down here is exactly what you want. You don't want any like grass or mulch or things that are going to hold moisture back here. So, worth noting, what you heard there was a plane taking off. And we are on the same side of town as the airport. The airport's maybe a 15-minute, 20-minute drive from here. I wouldn't think you're gonna be bothered by air traffic in our international airport with its one flight to Toronto. So, actually, I think you're gonna love our airport because we have this great hub with Allegiant now, so you can just jump on a plane and fly to Florida for like $100, as long as you don't take bags, because then they charge you another $100. So let's get back to the house. Here is more evidence of some wood rot there. I would probably want to repair that. Just be so easy to get rid of those little foam things. Here's the original sort of defect issue areas that I thought, you know, upon presentation right at the front door, probably be good to tidy that up, and it wouldn't require a whole lot of effort. So, but the chimney looks great. It's super plumb, and the caps are on it, and I don't see any missing tuck point work. So that's nice. Okay. And then again, this one, just real quick for reference. Okay. Cool. Well, let's go ahead and get inside.